It's payday. This payday, I took home $3,840.70. Every single time I get paid, I like to take my paycheck, stick it into the software that you see on screen, and give every single dollar a job. Out of this paycheck, as usual, 2 automatic investments came out. $160 went to my HSA, and $670 went to my 401k. My partner also contributed $920 to our joint expenses, which brings us to a total of $4,770.70 to budget. We have 2 overspent categories from the month of June, the current month. We will come back to those in a minute. For now, we're going to go over to July and start budgeting out what we need for next month. If you watched my last few videos, I got a larger income in May than I typically do in just your average month. And I'm going to first zero out this $1,500 that I set aside in holding just to make sure we have enough to cover what we need for the month of July. And the reason that we need to do that is if you look at our expected income for the month, we are expected to bring in $8,900. And our targets, which include some savings targets and other things like that, are projected to be closer to $11,000. So I need to figure out how I'm going to close that gap. And part of that was setting aside that money. All right, flipping back to July, I will start with fixed costs like I usually do. These are the non-negotiables that have to come out every single month. Things like your car, your house, all of that. So for us, first thing is our rent, which gets, we did have a rent increase. So now it gets $3,475 going forward for the rest of 2025. Our storage unit gets $50. Our garage went up, I think, by $10 as well. So now it's $260. And as a part of our rent, we also pay utilities, as you know, for our building or our community, which comes out to somewhere around $70 a month. I think on average, what are we at? $62.80. So I'll just set aside that $70 there. Okie dokie. The next thing we have is our utilities, and this is just our gas and electric that we pay to utility companies. Our average spent is around $300, but wanted to move it up to $400 since sometimes when we're using more gas in the winter or more electricity in the summer with the AC, sometimes we pay more, sometimes we pay less. So I'm going to set aside $400 there to see if I can build up a little buffer for those higher months. All right, our Wi-Fi gets $125. And renter's insurance, we're not going to worry about quite yet. Although maybe I should. I think I need to make a new target there. So let me create a target. I'm just going to say I need $150 custom yearly. I want to set that aside by June 2026. I think I need it like mid-month, so I'll do that. Yeah, let's try that and see what that tells us. Okay, so we need $13 for renter's insurance, which I will set aside there. And we also get our apartment cleaned twice a month, which works out to $300. And lastly, in our home category, we have our household goods. These are just the consumables that we run through pretty much every single month. I feel like this one has been one that's drawn a lot of comments. You can see our average spend for the year is $719. So quite a bit. And so at the beginning of the year, I was just trying to set aside $400 a month. And then I found that I was having to move money and scramble and move things around from other categories to cover our actual spending. So from here on out, I'm just going to go ahead and assign the full amount that I anticipate that we'll need. And then food and drink, we have in this category group several different categories. We have our meal kit, groceries, and meals at work. We're not going to be able to cover these for the month because we, as you can see in the underfunded here, we will need about $2,000 there, and we only have $777 left. So what I'm going to do, I think, is I will cover groceries, which gets $200 a month. I'll cover meals at work, which also gets $200 a month. And then we have $377.70 left. So let's see what we want to do here. We can't cover my car payment, which is $600. We could cover auto insurance, which gets $265. Let's see if we could also cover, nope, we can't cover taxes, registration, and fees fully, but we can cover car cleaning and maintenance, which gets $20 a month. We can also cover our seasonal tire swap, which needs about $17 a month. And we cannot also cover charging. So for now, I think I'll just cover these 3 categories by hitting underfunded there. And then we have $13.20 left. And I will go ahead and see what I can do in my subscriptions. I think for now, I will cover this $11 for premium connectivity, which is my car's data plan. And then we only have $2.20 left. So I think I'm going to just put that right into holding. And before we go, I do want to go back to June because I do have some overspending that I need to cover. One of the trips that I took this past month, this month, June, May into June, was an annual family vacation. My family of origin basically likes to do a vacation every single year. And so there was some spending there for me from that trip, and I need to cover $258.03. I'm going to go look at my categories and see what I can pull. If I look at the fixed cost view, I don't want to pull anything from home just because these things still need to come out for the month or will be spent throughout the month. I do think meal kit could be an option, or groceries, because we haven't spent anything in groceries. I've been out of town, like I said. So I think I actually might move $100 from groceries to ready to assign. Since I don't think that we'll need that for the rest of the month, I'll snooze that target. And then I won't touch meals at work. Won't touch anything in the car category, I don't think, or personal care. Okay, I'm going to flip to guilt-free spending, I think, instead. I could pull out of my personal guilt-free spending, which I don't mind. But I also feel like we are I wish YNAB would give you a percentage of your spending. Like I set aside $350 for the month and I spent about $60. What is that? Like 1/6, somewhere around there. And today is what is today? I think today is the 11th or 12th. So we're on track there. You know, I think we've spent less on coffee than we should given where we are in the month. So actually I may pull $50 there and move that to ready to assign and then snooze that. I think I will also pull $100 from my personal guilt-free spending. And I think that we need about 10 more bucks. So let me go back and take a look. I don't want to pull anything from our savings goals because these are things that have specific purposes that we want to build up money for. We have things like my out-of-pocket maximum for my healthcare. We have other upcoming trips that we want to spend money on, and our holidays and gifting, that kind of thing, as well as trying to build up $45,000 of expenses in the case of an emergency or some kind of job loss. So don't want to touch that. Let's see what else. I think we can maybe pull. Okay, I don't like that this is now $267.26. So I think I may pull $17.26 here, just so this is $250, and I'll snooze that. I won't need that for the rest of the month. I think I double entered a transaction. I'll fix that later. So we'll leave that alone. And then I will cover this with ready to assign. And I will cover this with ready to assign. And we have $3.98 left, which I will put into July's holding. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.